need to talk about President Biden and, quite frankly, my opinion on what the Democratic Party is doing and how it's similar to what they did to me when I ran for governor in California. And yes, I am wearing the color that I would like to change to because I am so disgusted by the Democratic Party, but for some reason I'm still holding on to a glimmer of hope that they're going to get their frickin' act together and stop being Looney Tunes. When I ran for governor in California, CNBC featured this article. This 29-year-old YouTube millionaire has a good chance of becoming the next California governor, which was based on a poll that Survey USA put together. And let's just say I was kicking everyone's butt. And I did kick all the other replacement candidates' butts outside Larry Elder once he really gained some traction as a Republican candidate. Doesn't surprise me, though, because a lot of folks are tired of the Democratic policies and rules in California. Democrats really have this idea of there's one way and one way only. And unfortunately, that's what I think is happening in this Biden administration. Let me give you an example of what I mean. In the 2021 California recall, the New York Times put a great summary together on this, mind you, and I understand this is the New York Times. Yes, they lean left, but it's worth talking about, okay? Why Newsom is telling California voters to leave half the ballot blank. Okay, hold on a second. Democrats who encourage you to vote from home with mail-in ballots are encouraging you to leave the ballot blank. Well, half of it. Yes, that's exactly what the official stance of the Democratic Party in California was. See, the Democratic Party will do things that could potentially spite itself if they think it will allow them to maintain better control of impressions or whatever. The party doesn't actually allow a lot of divergence. They try to pretend everybody's on the same team, when really what they're doing is entirely undemocratic. And you're going to see the parallels between 21 and today. So let's scroll down this New York Times article so you can understand this, since you might not be from California, and that's okay. So look at this. The ballot worked like this. There is a ballot that asks you, should the governor be recalled? Okay, so you answer yes or no. Okay. Then the second part of the ballot is, if the governor is recalled, that is, he's kicked out of his job, who should replace the governor? Okay, well, you would think that the Democratic Party would want a backup candidate in that position, right? And so that's where the logical option A comes from. Support a politically aligned Democrat in the replacement race and hope the candidate isn't so popular that people vote to recall Newsom because they want the backup. But that would make sense, because if Gavin Newsom's recalled because he sucks, then you end up getting another Democrat that you're okay with. Maybe this guy. Oh, hey, that's me. Yes, I am embarrassed to say it. I'm a registered Democrat. I've been since I was 18. Now, that feels very bad to say right now. I always said that I felt I was a 51-49er, as in like pretty much in the middle, but now I feel like I've become like a 49-51er, okay? Like I'm getting really pissed off at the Democratic Party. Option B is ignore the second question of the ballot and just focus on the recall. And that's what they went with. Quote, one question, one answer, no on the recall, move on, send in the ballot, the governor said recently. Why did they do that? Why would they go as far as saying, don't have a backup option on the ballot, it is Newsom or bust? Well, it's solely so that they could set him up for an easy re-election in 2022. See, he will most likely run for governor again in 2022, and the strategic reason for the Democratic Party not to endorse an alternate is it might give a platform to that second Democrat so they could run against Newsom in 2022. But the Democratic Party already has the vision that eventually they want Gavin Newsom to try to run for president. So rather than try to do what's best for California or what's best for the country, they would rather risk losing Newsom, not having a backup option, if it means there's a risk of not being able to elevate Newsom to his 2022 pedestal and eventually to president, they would rather spite themselves and lose everything. Well, folks, that's exactly what happened in California. We got Gavin Newsom in 2021, and then we got him again in 2022. And just like I predicted that we would have massive budget deficits in California, what a surprise. Governor Gavin Newsom on Saturday signed California's budget to close an estimated $46.8 billion deficit through some $16 billion in spending cuts and temporarily raising taxes on some businesses. In other words, we had such a large budget deficit, as we predicted, that yes, now they have to cut spending and raise taxes on businesses because they suck at allocating money. Like the high-speed rail they're building to nowhere, or the $500,000 that they spend per homeless person to try to house homeless people, and then they still end up either dead, drugged out, or not housed. Look, we don't have to go into the crappy job that Gavin Newsom is doing. I think everybody already knows that. But what is the parallel, the corollary to Biden? It's the Democratic Party. Oh, no. We don't have to replace Biden. It was just a bad night. Folks, Joe Biden has dementia. He has no memory. When he walks out to the teleprompter, he has to point to where he's going with his invisible handshake to remind himself, yes, this is what I need to do. And it's only when he's in front of a teleprompter can he actually operate. If he has to go, who remembers the whole cue card thing? Biden cue card. This is where when Biden goes to a meeting, he can't even function in the meeting without a press conference sequence of events put together by his staff. You enter the Roosevelt room and say hello to participants. You take your seat. Press enters. You give brief comments. Folks, this is not an election of a tyrant and Donald Trump who wants to be king and a dictator versus Joe Biden, the honest man who just had a bad debate. This is literally the Democratic Party trying to say, we don't want to swap out Biden, so we're going to say whatever the heck we need to about Donald and then minimize everything about Joe. Oh, he had a cold. It was just a bad night. He's still a good person. We support him. Manipulate us on the fundraising numbers. It's all a lie. And the lie has been exposed and it makes me disgusted. The Democratic Party should put their frickin' pants on and wake up and realize that they need another candidate. You can't trust Teleprompter Joe with our national security. I am nervous for the 7 children that I have to be in this country with Teleprompter Joe. If Xi Jinping calls and says, I need you to help me negotiate a deal with Russia right now, we're going to get a response that probably sounds a whole lot like the COVID that... Look. Okay, sorry. I had to pull the look out of somewhere. But anyway, look, I care a lot about my children. I care a lot about the success of my subscribers and my family. This is my baby Summer. She almost died. She's absolutely beautiful. I love her. I love all my kids. And I can't trust Joe Biden with this preciousness because he wouldn't remember what to do. This is not supposed to be anti-Democrat and pro-Trump. It's just very clear. If the Democrats don't replace Biden, I'm going to leave the party. Not that really matters. It's like, okay, YouTuber who lost to Newsom. I actually think that's a good nickname for him. He just sucks in California. Leaves Democratic. Like, nobody's going to care. That's fine. That's fine. Like, I'm not trying to, like, make a point. Like, oh, leave the party. I just personally can't identify as being part of a party that is so stubborn that they would rather spite themselves than have a backup. It's what they did in California. We'd rather have no backup than a backup. And it's what they're doing now with Biden. So if we don't get a replacement to Joe, by July 4th, I think the Democratic Party is actually going to try to stick with this. And that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And the betting averages, as I tweeted about, you can follow me there at RealMeKevin, are already telling us that Donald Trump's odds of becoming president, per the betting odds, actually went up after the debate was already over. Obviously, we had this big spike up, right? The first spike up here is after the debate. Okay, we already knew that. They declined a little bit afterwards. The reason they declined a little bit afterwards is because you started pricing in a Gavin Newsom or Harris, which actually have better chances than Joe Biden to win if you stack them all up against each other. Well, as you've noticed, Donald Trump's odds have actually gone back up to a higher point than right after the debate. Why is that? Well, it's because Democrats might be sticking with, if we listen to what, Joe Biden said to Vogue magazine, Joe Biden. And so Joe Biden's odds smidged up a little bit over here in the hole, but Donald Trump's went even higher than post-debate Trump. Why? Because Newsom and Harris lost a bunch more percentages. So, in other words, we took percentage possibility from down here, Newsom and Harris. We gave a little bit to Joe and a little bit to Donnie. So, it goes to show you the betting markets think this is a really stupid idea from Democrats. But then again, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know how, like, if logic just defies the Democratic Party. Now there's this whole thesis of, if Trump becomes president, he could send the SEAL team, SEAL Team 6 to go execute someone and have immunity. No! It doesn't work that way. You're still subject to the checks and balances of the Justice Department system, right? In other words, the Supreme Court eventually, and you're subject to the power of Congress. Congress can still impeach you for high crimes and misdemeanors. So if you utilize your power to go murder somebody, still going to get impeached. Then our justice system can determine that the action you took is not an official action, and then boom, you're just as guilty. Like, as long as you're not doing something that's condoned under the Constitution as part of your responsibility, which obviously murder would not be, then what they're saying is, you're good. Just follow the Constitution. Do your job. If you violate the Constitution, you violate logic and justice, the courts can still declare that what you did was outside your responsibilities, therefore subject to criminal penalties. So this whole idea that, the Supreme Court, just destroyed any responsibility of a president, and the responsibility that they have, just seems to be like another fear-mongery argument. And I think that's the stuff that the Democrats like doing. They did that with Gavin Newsom as well. We got the Delta variant right during the California recall. Mind you, they moved up the recall 3 months because they didn't want anybody else to have time to campaign. So they held the election really early, like September 14th or whatever it was in 2021. They did that purposefully to burn their competitors. Like this is like slime baggery tactics here. Anyway, so, right as Delta started rising, what all of a sudden becomes the Democrat pitch once they start realizing they're starting to get reamed in the polls? That is Newsom. Oh, what? Kevin's actually starting to win in some polls, and all of a sudden it looks like more people want to recall Newsom than not. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, I'm just reading this CNBC article. I'm like, those were the days. So anyway, what you end up finding is all of a sudden Newsom has to come out with a new strategy. And what's the new strategy? If you elect anyone other than me, that sounds a little like Trump, but anyway, if you elect anyone other than me, you're going to die to COVID. It's like, oh my gosh, that's their MO. Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm sorry. Sorry for the midnight rant. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Good luck. And if any of this stresses you out and you need to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes, we've got a paid sponsor of the channel, metkevin.com/life. Go there, check them out. They're amazing. When you go there, you'll find that you could sign up in as little as 5 minutes. It's the same health insurance that Lauren and I use. You could Apple Pay for it, Android Pay for it. It's great. metkevin.com/life. Check it out. Paid promotion, sponsor, affiliate of the channel. Thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.
Not advertise these things that you told us here. I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.